Hello, guys, and welcome. So excited to have you here. We are talking about the things to consider when entering a serious relationship. I'm looking around because of my lighting. I still haven't figured out this whole lighting thing. I really respect people who know what they're doing with this. I am not one of those people. And I think it's great when other people do know it because I'm like, wow, you look amazing. Um, but I think this is as good as it's going to get. Let's see. Oh, gosh, here we are. Better lighting. It is more amazing. And all of the sudden, the wrinkles, they go everywhere. They are gone. It is amazing. For those of you who are new here, my name is Arica Angelo. I am a dating relationship expert of 14 years now, coming to you guys from France, the south of France, and the French Riviera. So, thank you for being here. Listen, if you are new here, make sure that you subscribe. I've been doing a lot of these live videos, which is really cool because you get to get your questions answered, which I know you guys love to have answered. These questions that you have, what's going on in your relationships, the struggles that you're having. So happy to answer those here in the chat. But if you are new here, I just released a brand new free. This is a really cool concept. I made a connection meditation for people who are really struggling with relationships, being lonely, not doing so good in your relationship, not doing so well as a single. At the end of the day, like at some point, we've all had that struggle, right? So I made this meditation to help you connect more intimately. And then I was not satisfied with that. So I said, I think I'm going to make a mind movie to go with it. So it's like a connection meditation movie that I did. Sorry, I'm really not digging the light here, and it's cheating, I know, to adjust this, but I'm sorry, I just can't. So I made a movie to go with the connection meditation. So it's for my visual learners, my people who absorb and change visually, which is why I'm on YouTube. I'm like, everyone's like, you should do a podcast, and I'm like, I should, but I really love the whole visual aspect because I am such a visual learner. So it's, I really, really, really love visual learning. So I made this connection meditation movie for you guys. And you can get it at my website, and it's faux free. It's faux free. I look like I just woke up, but I promise you it's got to be the lighting because it's 5:30 here in France. Lucas, bonjour, Madame Arica. Bonjour, Lucas. Ça va? Cody Goodnight says, how are you doing today? I am doing good. Today is the first of the month. You guys remember that song? Wake up, wake up. It's the first of the month. You guys know that one? I'm dating myself here. Antonio, hi, how are you? I am doing well, darling. How are you? Tell me how you are. So, what are the things that you look for when you're settling into a relationship? Like, this is the exciting part. I think that this is like when you put I want to say your cojones on the line, right? When you're getting into a relationship, it's like, okay, it's game time. This is what I prepared for. All those years of being single, all those dates that I've gone on. This is time. It's game time. Charge. Like, I'm going in, guys. Cover me, cover me. So how do you know, like, okay, it's like, Arica, I'm ready. I think I'm ready to commit to this person. Or maybe some of you are dating and you're like, yeah, I never know what to look for when I'm thinking about getting into a relationship. So I just stay in the safe zone. I don't even touch that. I just stick with the like dating, seeing people, hooking up with people. So some of you guys are like, yeah, maybe if I just knew what to look for, then maybe I would entertain an actual relationship. But right now I'm playing in the safe zone and haven't touched a relationship in years. Some of you might be in a relationship and you're like, I think I may have entered into this a little too quickly, and I'm not really sure I'm in this for the right reason. So maybe if I watch this video, this will help give me some clarity. Lucas, Cody is doing good. That's awesome. Lucas says, looking gorgeous. I'm feeling great now. Oh, thank you. Michael says, I've been single for close to 12 years. Damn! That is a long ass time to be single. And I'm intimidated by asking a girl to be my girlfriend. Today is my birthday. Well, first and foremost, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Michael. What a big deal. I wonder how old you are. Intimidated to ask a girl to be your girlfriend. You have to let me know why you're intimidated. Like, give me some more information. Just don't throw that on me. Let me know some more. Antonio says, I'm very upset at a neighbor who pissed me off yesterday. Well, maybe you should just go piss in their yard. I'm teasing. Don't do that, but that would be kind of funny. I think you could go to jail for that. Gaza says, hi, Erica. How are you? I'm doing good, darling. I'm so grateful that you're here. Thank you for being here. It means a lot to me. And you look very beautiful as usual. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Cody says, just take it slow and listen to your heart. That's always like a winner, right? Listening to our heart. Lucas says, I'm a bit shy when it comes to super attractive women. Interesting. I think that most people, Lucas, I don't think you're alone. I think that most people, when someone is really attractive, I think we all get a bit nervous. I think that's just part of it. I think we all get a bit nervous with that. RDYT says, I found a girl, but she's new to the state and is still communicating with old partner. How to overcome. Yeah, when someone is still communicating with their former partner, I would say in that situation, you need to give them some space and let them figure out them. Let them figure out that relationship is dead and over. But the last thing that you want to do is to set yourself up for failure when they haven't gotten the answers for themselves. So let them go and figure that out. And I think, them realizing that not having you around is like, wait a minute, there's this really great guy over here. And meanwhile, I'm, wasting my life away with this other person, which, hello, there's no future. It's why they're my ex. So let's just leave them in the past. And, that other guy was like making my life so much better. I was so much happier when he came around. And now I'm just like in my head and screwed up because I'm still talking to my ex. So let her figure out her journey. I would back off a bit. I really would encourage you to back off a bit so that she can position herself to make some decisions with clarity. But if you're in the mix, it's very hard for her to get clarity. Some people would say, well, she can see the polarity between the two, but you don't want to set up your relationship based off of comparison. Alan says it takes time to really get to know someone, no matter how attracted one is. That is true. I think attraction sometimes, it's like the conversation between chemistry and compatibility. And this is something we're going to talk about. It's like when you have chemistry with someone, oh my God, that's exciting. It's addicting. You want more of it. There's never enough. But then I think sometimes people, when they get into relationships, they lead too strong with that. And it's like, oh my God, there's so much chemistry here. But then when you get to know the person, you're like, ouch, we're not compatible. We don't want the same things out of life. I saw Lewis Howes. I don't know if you guys follow Lewis Howes. I actually remember Lewis. We both were in Columbus, Ohio at the same time. I was freshly divorced. He, I think, was trying to figure out life at that time. He wasn't the Lewis Howes he is today and was just trying to figure it out. I think he said he was sleeping on his sister's couch at that time. But that didn't stop us from going to the clubs. And I remember seeing Lewis and I would see each other out at the clubs in Columbus, Ohio. And but he said something about a relationship. He said that you guys have to have the same vision. He said I saw one of his Instagram posts and I was like, you know what? I really agree with that. He said, I think the landscape in terms of like
our foundation of what we need relationships for has really shifted. In the past, it used to be based off of survival necessity, and I think that we'll always need relationship. I don't think we'll never evolve where we go, I don't need people anymore. I think that's a bunch of BS. But he says something, and I think it's really good because the landscape has changed, because we as people have changed, our values have changed. Before, a guy was like, I just want a good wife that's gonna raise my kids right. And now I just saw, like Jordan Peterson said, like I think 50% of women at the age of 30 are no longer having children. And so I'm definitely one of those. I don't have children. And that women are prioritizing their career. I'm like, yeah, did that too. So with that being said, the landscape shifted. So it's not like men are out looking for someone to be a good wife to their children, and women are not just looking for a man who's just a good provider. I mean, that was the thing. It was like, how much money does he have? How much can he provide? That's changed as well, because women are like, I'm providing, but like now that creates a whole different landscape. If I got my career and I've got his career, like how do we actually like do life together with two people who have careers? So I really loved to what Lewis said, which was he feels like love is not enough, and that it's three things that you really need to look for when being in a relationship, which is having the same vision for life, which I really agree with, and having the same values. Another thing I really agree with, because man, if your values aren't the same, whoo, when life throws you a serious curveball, having the same values helps you. It positions you to navigate through those in unison. As if you have different values, and life throws you a curveball, and you guys may approach it very differently, which may cause division. And so he says vision, he says values, and he says and lifestyle. And that's really true. That's really, really true. I know for myself, my lifestyle is I travel all the time. I'm always traveling. I'm very spontaneous. I'm very adventurous. If I had a partner who was like, no, I have a 9 to 5 and I can never leave and I can only vacation, maybe once a year for a week, I'd be like, see ya, or I'm going to go do this all on my own because I can't do this with you. So I would say that when I have to agree, I'll piggyback off of what Lewis said in that regards of, when it comes to settling in a relationship, it's having those three things answered for yourself, not just in the back of your mind, but if you're committing to a relationship, like you need to have the answered of, do we have the same values? Do we have the same vision? And do we want the same lifestyle? And here's the thing, this is kind of counterintuitive to most dating habits that people have, which are just because something's a habit of ours doesn't mean that it's serving us. But one of the dating habits that people really have that's a terrible habit, which is, I'm going to wait a while to have those kind of conversations. And I think that's the stupidest thing that you can do. Why would you waste your time spending time with someone if you guys don't want the same things? Why not just get clear from the get-go if you guys want the same things? Because I think this is what sets people up for failure and disappointment. It's like they don't have those awkward, hard conversations. They're not even hard conversations. It's just awkward because people have set up this unhealthy way of dating. But it's really just having that kind of conversation and saying like, hey, these are the things that I want in life, and this is where I'm going. What do you think about that? What do you want in your life? And I think asking those very specific questions from the get-go create some clarity. Now listen, you want to go about it in a way that sounds more conversational as opposed to an interview. I don't know about you guys, I'm kind of more of a boss with my communication and just go for the jugular. I'm like, here's what it is, where are you at on that? you know and so it's you can say it in a more conversational way by saying like, yeah, I definitely have like this vision for myself. And then you lay out your vision and you say, some values that are really important to me are, and then you say your values and you say, the lifestyle I see myself living it could be the lifestyle you're already living. You want to keep living that way. Or you say the lifestyle that I am working towards is this. And then what you do is you're creating a conversation, and obviously you want them to say back to you. You want to create some space and let them speak into that. So you wouldn't throw all three at the same time. You would just start off maybe with one date talking about like what your vision for your life is. And then you can ask them like, do you have a vision for your life? What do you see for your life? And that can give you a lot of clarity right there as to whether or not you need to consider getting into a relationship with the person. Well, I personally think you should be asking these questions very early on. But if you didn't, these are the questions that need to be answered for yourself so that you can feel at peace and at ease with the relationship. I think sometimes, a lot of times, we can create friction and chaos in the relationship because at our core, in our intuition, we know that this person isn't the best fit for us. But we compromise, we make excuses, and we lie to ourselves as to why they are good for us when inside we already have those answers. But sometimes we get too committed to the relationship that then we have to convince ourselves that we're right. And so then we just go, oh, well, yeah, they don't have this, but the good old but, I like big butts and I cannot lie. The big but is, but they have this. And it's like, no butting around. Get to the point. Do they have the same vision? Do they have the same values? Do they have the same lifestyle that you want to have? And so I want to talk about also the big thing about chemistry and compatibility, and when to know when you should actually settle and commit to a relationship. And on top of that, I want to go over some really important things that most people don't think about and they don't ask themselves, and it gets them in a lot of trouble. So before we go into chemistry and compatibility, I just want to look at your messages. Cody says it's going to be 105 here in Houston, Texas. I just spoke to my aunt. She lives in Pearland, and she said, honey, you are not missing anything in Texas right now. My family's from Galveston, although they're moving out of Galveston, which is so weird because I'm a BOI, which means I was born on the island, and I will always be a BOI. I don't care where I live in the world, Bali, France, I'm always a BOI. Like, that's never going away. But yeah, 105, that's pretty brutal. I think it's like in the high 70s here. And for whatever reason, high 70s here is like actually really hot. Michael says, my last girlfriend was a narcissist and damaged my confidence. Yes, there is real severe consequences when you date a narcissist. It's a very manipulative experience. It's very psychologically damaging. It's emotionally damaging. It feels like your heart has been shanked, because you trust this person and they manipulate your naivety. They manipulate and they take advantage of the struggles in your life. And they use it all to their advantage because they need to feel good about their little weak ego that, childhood trauma they've never addressed. And so then they manipulate the people in their life. And then they convince you that it's for your good. And then when you come out of it, you're like, wow, I didn't really feel like that was for my good. So that is a journey to begin the process of healing yourself. One thing that I encourage my clients who have come out of narcissistic relationships is to ask why you got into the relationship from the get-go. Like, have some personal responsibility. I think I just covered a book on narcissism. I really encourage you to watch that video. If you've just come out of a narcissistic relationship, please, I beg you, go watch that video. I think it will bring you a lot of clarity, bring you some answers, and also help you have some compassion for yourself of, okay, this is why I got into it, and how can I love myself for making this terrible decision, this terrible choice that I wasn't really empowered to make, but I made it. And so here I am with the consequences. Uh, Michael says, I've cut off all communication with her on December 17th, 2010. We were dating for 9 months. Michael says, I have several girls who would love to be my girlfriend and possibly my wife. So why aren't you choosing any of these girls? What's going on there, Michael? Myron says, good morning, Arica. You're always beautiful in your videos. Thank you. I actually make an effort to look good on these videos. So appreciate you noticing. Derwin says, good morning, Arica. Derwin, I'm so glad to have you back. I know that my last videos have been really speaking to you, so I hope that this one does as well. Little Ben says, is compromising in a relationship a bad thing? That's a great question, because compromising can have different connotations, right? Different meanings. So when you compromise in a relationship because you guys are trying to meet each other in the middle, that's relationship. Like that, like no one's ever just going to be the exact same as you. And if they were, that would be terribly boring. I would never want to be in a committed relationship with another Arica Angelo. Like, I'm like, this woman knows how to live life fully on her own. She needs a little bit of something different in her life. So compromising to meet each other in the middle is what makes relationship work. When two very different people come together, there needs to be compromise, right? But when you compromise yourself and the other person isn't doing the same, like if you're always compromising and the person never does, they never budge, it's just always you who's compromising, then that's not healthy. That is you having very poor, terrible boundaries in your life. And you got to you got to take a step back and go, ooh, am I losing myself in this because I don't have any personal boundaries? It's just whatever they want, I give into. So if you feel like you're constantly giving in and they're not meeting you halfway, that's not a healthy relationship. That's someone who is either manipulating you, or, I mean, because at the end of the day, when you're in a loving relationship, if you feel like your partner's always giving and you're always taking, like a healthy relationship would go, oh, I've noticed this dynamic and I don't like what's going on here. It would really help me if you used your voice more and said what you wanted, because I want to hear what you want, because I chose you and I love you, and your desires and what you want is a part of you. And I need to know what those are. But if you're just constantly, going along with what I want, like I'm missing out on you. So I need you to show up a little bit more in this relationship. I hope that brought you some clarity. Gaza says, I have a friend that had to leave the country to actually find real, genuine love. I relate to that. And I know many people relate to that. He lives in Mexico. Do you think that our very own American women are poisoned by the lifestyle? Yes, of course, absolutely. I think that, I don't think all American women are, but I think, us American women, I will put myself in the mix. We've definitely drank the Kool-Aid and our priorities have shifted. It's like this. If you can imagine a swinging pendulum, and it's gone way to one side where it's just like, at first it was like a woman has no value, she has no career, she has no voice, all she does is basically live as a maid in a home. And then somehow society sold it to her of like, you made it, you got yourself a husband, you hate your life and you're tired of cleaning dirty diapers, but you made it because you got a husband. And so women have like finally like woken up and gone like, that's some BS. And so women have swung to the other pendulum of like building careers, becoming alpha females and all that, which is great. But then you talk to a lot of those women and they've forfeited their relationships. And you hear guys doing this too. So we're on the far end of the spectrum of like, it's just career. And, I even have clients who tell me, they're like, I went on this date with this girl. All she talked about was her career and women's rights and this and that. And it's like, okay, well, that's not why you guys are on the date. You're there to see if you guys have chemistry, not for her just to preach at you the whole time. And so, yeah, I think that it's gone too far. And now women, we have to come back to the middle and go, okay, how can I and which is hard. It's not easy to do. Let me just say, as an independent woman who has my own career and who built it all on my own back, like no one gave this to me. Sometimes I wish they did, but it's hard to go, okay, I built this, which takes a lot of strength, but how do I do this to where I am still feminine and I still keep my heart open and I'm tender and I don't become hardened? So yeah, I think that our priorities, American women, I think we've got to get realistic about our priorities, because at the end of the day, like, who cares if you build a great career, but you go to home and you're miserable? Like, you have to drown yourself in bottles of wine every night, and you're lonely, and no one really knows the real you, and no one's actually there for you. Like, yeah, you have friends, but then they meet someone and it's like they're all going on with their lives, and there you are, and you're going to bed with your career. It's like, no. So yeah, I do agree. I do know that there are lots of men who are going to different countries to meet love, to find love. And I'm like, have at it. If you're not finding what you want in America, absolutely go to another country. But also, to the credit of American women, I think that, a lot of, I know even when I was in Bali, a lot of the local women would say to me, like, wow, it's amazing that you have so much freedom and you get to travel wherever you want and you have your own money. And it's like, yeah. And I think that, there are still American men who appreciate and value that in a woman. It's like, yeah, this woman has gone and made something of herself on her own, and that's to be respected. That's to be appreciated. So there's a middle ground of like of a man respecting a woman's journey to getting to where she is, and then a woman also like maintaining like her sense of being open-hearted and not being like overly masculine when she's with a man, because it's a turn off. A guy doesn't want to be on a date with another guy, point blank. Gaza says, I have a friend. Okay, no, RDYT says, do you think I should commit to chasing my crush or take my chances with an ex-coworker, or avoid and keep myself high value? You have to give me a lot more context than that. That's very general. So let me go into, before I come back to these, let me go back to compatibility and chemistry. Sorry, William just made a really, William is like kicking some butt in the chat. Like, he is saying some straight up, he's spitting out the truth. He's like, a lot of people are just users. Yes, because a lot of people operate from fear. And so fear is a scarcity mentality of there's never enough, so I've got to take advantage of other people to get myself to the top. So people are users because they're afraid, is really what it boils down to. Entitlement is toxic, 100%. I completely agree with you there. And then he says, I respect anyone who's driven and self-sufficient. Same. However, the attitude is we don't need a man. And I agree with you. I don't agree with that mentality at all. You can't say I don't need something and then be, no, William, don't apologize. I love it. I love what you're saying. I'm like, yeah, I'll talk about it. Anytime we say I don't need a man, or even men say this, like with that movement, which I got a lot of, anyways, the movement MGTOW, men who've gone their own way. Listen, anytime we say I don't need someone, at the end of the day, that comes from a broken place. It really does. It's just brokenness. It's like someone has hurt me in the past, and I will never go back to letting that person hurt me. That's really what it boils down to. When we get so callous of heart that we say, I don't need another human being, I don't need another type of human being, we've become callous of heart. Now, if you say, I don't need toxic people, that's different. It's putting a label. But to say, I don't need all men, I don't need all women, it's like, oh, come on, you're just hurt. You're just hurt. Like, first acknowledge it. You're just hurt and you're pissed off, and that's okay. But do something about it. Don't just piss your life away whining about it. Do something. So there's that. So really good stuff, William. Thank you for sharing that. Antonio, yes, you need a breather, my man. Go get a breather. So compatibility and chemistry, this is really important when you're looking to commit to a relationship and you're looking to settle in a relationship and go, okay, I'm choosing this person. I'm going to be with this person. Um, oh, AOHT, I just want to give you a high five. I completely agree with what you just said. Both show. So when you are getting into a relationship and you have high chemistry and you're like, I want to commit to this person. The sex is so good. Every time they walk in the room, I just get so turned on, and I get so excited about seeing them. Like, these are all the signs of chemistry, right? Tons of chemistry. Chemistry is great. We need chemistry. Chemistry is what makes it fun, what makes it exciting. Then you have the other, which is compatibility. We have the same values, we have the same vision, we get along well, we like doing the same activities together. Simple things like going to the grocery store is like fun for us. This is we really just, our spirituality is the same. Like, we want children, we don't want children, we're both driven in our careers, we're not driven, we just like to chill with life. There's compatibility there. Here's a challenge. You need both. And you're like, oh, Arica, that's too much. Like, you just destroyed me there, Arica. Hang on. You need both. This is why you need both. Because if you just have, let's say, chemistry, listen, chemistry only lasts for so long, because eventually, when the real world shows up and you guys have decisions to make, you need to do life together, you start living together, you maybe you go as far as to get married, all these things, the chemistry is exciting, but as you know, life is not always exciting. Life has its mundaneness. Like, for example, I don't like brushing my teeth. It's so annoying. I don't like going to the bathroom. It's so annoying. I'm like, such a waste of time. I could be laying on the beach. Why do I have to go pee right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, there are just some of those things that you have to do in life that are not so fun, but you have to do them because it's part of life. It's the same thing. You guys have tons of chemistry, but at some point you guys have to go buy groceries and eat. At some point you guys have to pay bills. At some point you guys have to make a decision on where you're going to live. These sort of things, these real life, not problems, but real life scenarios come up. And then all of a sudden, the chemistry is not as exciting, because it's like, well, we have to make real decisions here and we're on different pages. Then their sexiness isn't as sexy. Let's switch to compatibility. Let's say that you are really compatible with someone and you guys get along well, you guys make each other laugh, you guys have fun doing things, but at the end of the day, they just don't really turn you on. Like the bedroom is very monotonous. It's not exciting. It's just the act that you guys do, but you're not really enjoying it. When they walk in a room, it's like, that's nice, but it doesn't, there's not a fire on the inside of you. You have to have both, because there are going to be some days that, guess what? That person is going to annoy the hell out of you. But because you're so attracted to them, you're like, I'm going to put up with your BS today because you turn me on so much and I just want to take you in that bedroom and make love to you, right? So that's that. And then also with the compatibility, it's like, that chemistry keeps things exciting. But chemistry can be exciting, but excitement burns off. And so what are you going to do in the day-to-day if there's no compatibility? So you really need to ask yourself, do we have a culmination of the two? When I'm choosing to settle with this person, when I'm choosing to commit to a relationship with this person, does he turn me on? Is he someone that I can do life with? Or is he going to drive me insane? Is it going to be like oil and water over life decisions? And it's the same for compatibility. It's like, I just love how we get along so well, but they just don't do it for me. They really don't turn me on. You're going to need those turn on days. Trust me. So you got to have both. So when you're committing to a long-term relationship, when you're choosing to, I hate the word settle, but when you're choosing to okay, I'm going to quit goofing off with my life. I'm going to choose this person. I'm making a choice. In making your choice, let it be a conscious choice. Don't just go, oh, I'm lonely. And, and here's a huge mistake is people do this over age. And I'm like, age is never a reason to be in a relationship with a person. It's just not. If that person doesn't do it for your heart, it's not worth doing a relationship for. And, for me, like, vision is very high. But if I have like a high vision with someone, but we want a different lifestyle, or we want different we have different values, like just having that vision is not enough. Like we need the rest of it. So when you're choosing a person, choose them from the heart. Choose them from the heart of, we're compatible with one another. We do have chemistry. And yeah, we have the same values. We want the same lifestyle. We have the same vision for life. These are really important things because let me tell you, when you just blindly go into a relationship, at the end of the day, there are real consequences. And I'm a huge advocate for relationships, huge. Like even when people come to me and they're having challenges in their relationship, my advice is always going to be to work through it. Always. I don't think that we should just discard one another. I think that that sets us up for needing to rely on, robots and plastic things, if you know where I'm going with this. And so I think that just constantly discarding people is a terrible habit. It can really screw our world over. Like people worried about climate change and you know um, if we should go and live on Mars and this and that. And I'm like, we need to take inventory. We need to take stock about how we treat one another. Like, save the planet, save animals. Let's move to Mars. But at the end of the day, we need to have some inventory and some real conversations about how we're treating one another. And so you want to make sure that like you're not just discarding every single person that comes into your life, and you're not looking for excuses to just run out of those relationships because you're afraid or you feel incompetent in relationships. Then damn it, get some focus and get competent. But don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater. William says, exactly. It's fear and generalizations that damage the relationship between men and women. Setting standards is not about control. It's about boundaries. Yeah, you got to have boundaries. Like boundaries is saying like, I value myself and I know what I want and I know what's important to me because I've taken some time to get to know me. And let's see if we're in alignment with that, right? Williams says, many content creators are just pushing an agenda. I believe that isolation and generalization perpetuates divisiveness. I completely agree with you. Like you and I are on the same page, William. No one sees the other as human beings. Yeah, I just think there's a lot of fear, and that fear has come with a lot of pride and a lot of entitlement. And it's a self-protection mechanism. And so when we do that, we don't look at people as human beings, and it creates some real toxicity amongst us. It creates toxicity in our planet. And so we have to really start not just having general empathy, but very focused empathy on the person who's in front of us at that moment. Williams says, do you think that is why people cheat? Comfortable and complacency. I think that a lot of people cheat because they don't have the balls to say what's bothering them in a relationship. Boom. Most of the time, either their needs aren't being met sexually, or they're having their own trauma coming up in the relationship, and their own addictions, whatever the case may be. And instead of just sitting with their partner and having a conversation of going, hey, I've got something going on inside of me. I'm finding myself looking at other people, and I think it might have something to do with my own relationship with myself, or I'm not happy with our sex life. Like it's having the courage to show up in the conversation and have those very uncomfortable conversations. But because most people have which is why I created that whole emotional warrior program. It's like people become so weak and conditioned with making excuses for their weakness that they go and act out of their weaknesses, and then they hurt people, and then they cause major, major, major disruption in relationships. And here's the thing, that has a ripple effect. It doesn't just impact that relationship. It impacts children. It impacts their finances. It impacts the people who hear their story and they go, well, shoot, that couple divorced, that guy cheated. Well, shoot, that is the direction of relationship. And then it just perpetuates this toxicity. When all that person had to do is show up in the relationship and say, hey, I find myself looking at other people. Hey, our sex life has gone to the drain, and I think we need to address this. Hey, I don't like the way you're disrespecting me, and I want us to have some more respect. I think we need to go see a therapist over this. It's addressing it in the relationship and not just going, I don't want to talk about it, so I'm just going to go and destroy everything I built. Not a good strategy. RDYT says, I need a one-on-one session with the wonderful Arica. Well, you can always book that on my, well, I can't say you always can book that. Sometimes I do have to take down my coaching because of projects. So, but right now it is up. So you can go do that. Lucas says, yes, grow together, having chemistry and intimacy. William says, communicate with comprehension and the relationship can be corrected. Absolutely. Gaza says, I know that love is a constant fight to keep the fire burning, and I know this love will go away after time, but a true love is actually being best friends and having understanding. I completely agree with you. I think that best friend element is super important. And I think that, I feel like in relationships, especially in Western society, that we look at relationships as like a check off the box, like, okay, and I've done that goal has been completed, and what's next? And what happens is when you treat a relationship and when you treat a person like a check mark on a list, once it's done, it's done. You don't invest any time to nurture it. You don't invest any time to grow it. And it's like anything that is of value needs attention. I don't care if you have a diamond, if you have a car, like anything that is of value, you have a home, you have to invest to take care of it. Even your career, if you stop performing at work, guess what? They get rid of you. If you quit performing in your business, guess what? Your numbers are going to show you. And so you have to really invest and nurture what you have. And they're not some goal on a checklist. This is someone that you have committed to do life with. It's one of the most valuable commitments you'll ever make. So you might as well enjoy it. You might as well have fun with it. You might as well celebrate it. You might as well make it the best thing you've ever created. And Gaza says, yeah, do you think marriages last because they became great friends? Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. They became best friends. They go and they enjoy life together. They have hard conversations and they find ways to enjoy themselves in the process. Absolutely. And at the end of the day, like when someone's your best friend, you don't just wake up one day and go, I'm just going to betray you. No, it doesn't happen that way. We betray because there's been a breakdown in the relationship. William said, I was cheated on multiple times and I just had to realize that it's not always about me. That is true. But William, I would say if this is a reoccurring theme, then there is something going on with you that gives these people a green light to do that, or where they're not valuing you enough and they're just running off. And it's like, I'm just curious if you really show up strongly in valuing yourself in the relationship. Ronak says, love the talk so far, Arica. Just listening to you makes me feel that it's time to revisit and get more clarity about my own visions, goals, values, and boundaries. Absolutely. I constantly say, without a vision, people die. At the end of the day, if you have no vision, you're not living. You're just dying every day. But vision is what invigorates us. It gives us life. And most of the time, we are not getting what we want because we don't have a clear vision, we don't have focus, and we don't have the tenacity to get it. And we settle and compromise along the way. We accept plan B, C's, and D's and not staying focused on plan A and going, no, that's what I really want. And we allow ourselves to get too easily distracted and we go, well, why didn't I get what I wanted? Because you lost sight of the prize. You lost sight of your vision. Vincentio says, if a man is having the money figured out really well in life, how can he really tell that the woman next to him is not with him for his money? Plan an A or triple A tether. How do you know for sure? You show up, you can tell whether a woman wants you for you or your money by how she treats you, how she values you as a person. Is she asking you questions about you? Is she supporting you in your vision? When you have a rough day, does she wrap her arms around you and cry with you? Like, that's how you know that she wants you for you. But if it's about possessions and going to the next restaurant and going on the next trip, like, see where she's prioritizing, where she's investing herself in you. Is she investing herself in the events of life, or is she investing herself in the person she's doing life with? I tell you what, I don't know what's been going on with me, but I've been spitting out some mad wisdom lately. I wish I could like just write everything I've been saying down because it's been some pretty powerful stuff. Then Cynthia says, because a man, if you can say you know for sure, it's like you can say as a man, I know the lottery numbers for next week. I don't know what you mean by that. William says, I was in marriage for the wrong reasons. I'm accountable for my part and made the necessary corrections to my behavior. I hope that answers your questions. Good. Yes. When you say it's a blanket statement like that, like it has nothing to do with me, I'm like, oh, but yes, I'm glad that you were accountable and you looked at yourself and you said, how did I play a part in this? Because when we don't ask ourselves that question, here's a challenge. When we don't ask ourselves, like, where did I play a part when my relationship is not what I want, or it's failing, or there's betrayal? It's like, I think we all go through a grieving stage where we're hurt, we're angry. And I think that that's all very natural. I think that's a very natural thing to do. But at some point after that we've gone through that, we've given ourselves permission to grieve and be angry, then we have to go, okay, where did I play a role in this? Where did I show up or not show up in this? How could I have stayed more true to myself? So I hope this is helping you guys out. I just want to remind you again to go to my website, aricaangelo.com, and get that new free meditation. I'm like really excited about it. Ronak, I saw that you just got it. I want to know your thoughts. I want to hear what you thought about it. Girl gets thirsty. So I'm going to do another live tomorrow. I'm really excited about it. Also, you guys, I shared on the last YouTube, on the last live from yesterday, that I'm taking a major trip this weekend. I'm going to visit 3 countries that I've never been to, all within a week. So I'll be bringing my lighting and my stuff so I can do YouTubes while I'm traveling with you guys. I'm going to still continue with these lives because it's just been really good. It's been really nice doing these videos with you guys. Oh, Ronak, he listened to the connection meditation. He said, love it. Listened last night and today morning as well. Highly recommend it. Tap into the love energy. I love it. I'm so glad that you liked it. That makes me so excited. That is fantastic. What great feedback. Thank you, Ronak. I'm curious too if you watched the connection video, if that resonated with you. For me, it definitely resonates, but I hope it resonates with you all. So guys, these are the things that you need to do to consider when you're looking to choose a person, commit to a relationship, settle in a relationship, is, to piggyback off of what Lewis Howes said, which I agree with, which is, do they have the same vision? Do they have the same values, and do they want the same lifestyle as you? And then just that clarity that I was saying about, like, you want to have a combination of chemistry and compatibility. Like, that's super important. And, other things to consider always is finances. Like, what does finances look like between the two of you guys? I know that people forget that and they think, oh, well, we'll just talk about that later. But you need to get a ballpark idea as to like how they run their finances, because you know what they used to always say, that what causes relationships to fail is, you know, a lack of communication, the sex, and money. And so chances are, you know, if you guys are thinking about getting in a relationship, you're communicating. Chances are, if you're thinking of getting in a relationship, the sex is good. That one thing about money is where some people forget to ask that. They're like, oh, it's just new. And it's like, yeah, but you know, most of the time, not a lot of people are committed to changing their money habits. So that's something that you want to be a bit conscious of. It's like, how do they manage their money? Where are they with money? Um, so yes, compatibility, super important. Without chemistry, it's a very dry relationship. Chemistry is awesome. It's fire. But sometimes fire can warm a home or it can burn down a home. So just chemistry without compatibility doesn't work. It's not sustainable. It doesn't work over the long haul. You got to have both. And so I hope that this video has helped you guys. Just know that you guys are so loved. I just am so, so, so grateful to have you guys here. And, you know, your presence and your questions, like they really, really just make me so excited to be able to share with you guys in this live capacity. So thank you. And make sure, if you are new, make sure you subscribe. And reminder, go get that connection meditation. It is both free. Go get it. Guys, I love you so, so, so much. Remember, you have what it takes. And I will see you in a live video tomorrow. How exciting is that? You guys take care. Bye.